was looking for a chance to do his debut directorial, and I thought, okay, if we are going to do our first project, let's do with the fresh, fresh mind and fresh story and stuff like that. So I knew Kishore's work. I think with the work he had done in She, and I'd seen some of his other work, so I knew he's a very, very strong actor. And what I love about Kerala is, I love the people. I think people are lovely. You sit with you sit with them. They're so humble and so.
So, like,
polite.
this conversation is never ending.
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot to talk about.
I love conversing with everybody here.
Hello everyone, welcome to Timeline Conversations. I'm very elated to sit beside a dignitary, the producer of upcoming Malayalam movie Vadakkan, which is slated to release on March 7th, 2025. Let's welcome Major Jaideep Singh, the producer of the movie. Okay, so I would like to ask you about Vadakkan. You haven't been exposed to Malayalam movies yet. So what made you invest your time, your energy and resources for this movie?
I've always, loved projects which have a lot of creativity into it, and it's, of course, back in the day with the kind of work I've done over my career. During COVID, Sajeed shared this story with me, and I've had a little bit of exposure to what was happening with the South cinema at that time. I think the big change in terms of expansion has happened over the last 7-8 years. And that was that inflection time.
Yeah.
But the story was strong. I knew Sajeed from my MTV days, and I believed the transition of Offbeet Media Group and our studio business that time. We were just setting the studio piece, and we were looking for a project which can travel globally, project which comes from India, but people should see it at a global stage. So I found there was a lot of strength in the film, and I thought, okay, let's try it, and the story moved on from there. A lot of people joined in, and we were able to, I think what we have now as a product looks very, very promising.
Okay, so you are from the Indian Army, a major, so I would like to know your transition from a life, of strategic defense to media and entertainment.
I believe life is all about taking chances. It's about, jumping into new things. I have, over my last almost now 3 decades, 2.5 decades, I would say, of my working life, I've tried new things. Getting into Army in '96 was also, I was 20 years, and I said, okay, let's try. Got into it, cleared my SSB, got commissioned to Armored Corps, drove tanks, volunteered for Siachen, went to Amar, Bana, served in the highest battlefield at -50. Kargil happened that time, so saw that as well. Oprakram happened, so did a lot of action from 20 to 25, 26, and and then the opportunities came, and I kind of took an exit. Worked in different fields. Media started, apart from some other stuff. Media started with MTV and Times of India back in 2004. I've seen the whole transition of MTV with the MTV Bakra days. Sajeed was there. That is how we know each other. Good fun times. Roadies 1 to Roadies 10, Splitsvilla 1 to Splitsvilla 6, Coke Studio 1 and 2, MTV Unplugged, and launching Supersonic, lots of stuff. So I think 10, 12 years there were great fun. And now building your own thing. We now have a business which has a studio division where we have a film like Vadakkan. We have few more planned out. We have a cricket league in US called US Premier League. It's done 3 seasons already, going into 4th season, approved by ICC, by US Cricket, and players from all over the globe come and work, play there. It gets broadcasted to around 30 countries. So that's a big product there. We have One Over India, which is the OTT platform. So I think what I believe in, you got to in life take chances. You got to jump into things, and especially media entertainment is a very, I think, interesting space. There are so many things to do, and this studio space is something which I always, I won't say I was looking for it. It just came in.
Okay.
And I think now we have our first piece coming out. It's a dream project, a dream of many people together.
Yeah.
So I think that's
and there
that's
are
our journey.
national and international cast and crew as well.
Uh,
Like the
Like I told you,
cinematography is from
yeah.
Japan.
Like I told you, like when I homed on to this project, the whole thing was about carried travel, and when you have to make media properties travel, you also need to have a good core. So the story was strong, like I said, and then one of the reasons why I said okay, let's go ahead with it, and we put in all our effort and time, like you said, behind it was we somehow were lucky to get the right people to get involved. So first in was Uni sir. He came in, so story started developing in. Then we Sajeed and Uni sir kind of thought about it, and then Rasul sir came in from a sound perspective. I still remember I met Kiko in Delhi in Lalit Hotel.
Yeah, the cinematographer.
And the idea was okay, we need a large scale canvas. And I had never met her before.
Okay, like did you feel like it's going beyond the imagination? Like a lot of people are coming.
No. I thought if we have to do it, we need this.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it.
Okay.
If it was, if we didn't have these kind of people coming in, I wouldn't have, gone ahead with it. The idea was, if I have to make a product which travels globally, it needs to also have a good mix of people. So the first thing was about right crew. So first we homed on to Unisa, then we, Sajeed proposed Kiko. I met her, gave her a vision of what we want to do. She kind of bought into it. She came on into the play, then the Sulsa came onto the play, and then we kind of, got rest of the crew with. We were very lucky to, I would say, like, I think Kishore is a perfect fit for the character.
Yeah.
And that we see more and more when we see the film. Shruti coming in. That time this cast was a little fresh, I would say.
We have seen their two different performances in many movies.
Yeah. So at that time for this film, it was I would say a very fresh cast.
Yeah.
Generally in this market, for the kind of budget we have put behind this film, people would say, okay, take a big actor. And that was a balance we were trying to figure that time. Do we go behind a big actor or do we go behind a balanced cast which does justice to the characters?
Okay.
So I think we went with the belief that the story has to be strong, and if you have the crew correct, you need the right actors with the right profile to fit into the story. So I think that's what we've achieved. Whether you see the reality cast, all the that time, from Kalesh to Grishma to Gargi to Meenakshi, all these people were, just coming up. So we got them, and then Shruti coming in, Merin that time was also kind of moving along the ladder. So it was, I think it was a very beautiful mix of a lot of people who were trying to do something interesting coming together.
Okay.
And the umbrella was about the core senior cast crew being there. So I think that's how the project kind of got together, and that journey of all these people working together with full independence. Being able to do what they want to do. We had our own doubts during the journey about saying, is this correct, this stop? But in the end, when you see the final product, you realize that everybody has their own vision.
Okay.
Like Sajeed's vision behind going after the reality part of it.
Okay.
That was a challenge in itself to produce and to shoot and make it exciting to watch.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting. And then have three worlds. You have shoots in Helsinki, then you're coming to Kochi, then you are going to Putiganam, then you have this whole past world experience. So it's like 4 or 5 worlds coming together in a 1 hour 52 minutes film is quite amazing in its own way.
And it's a very long journey as well. Beside this friendship, what made you believe Sajeed?
We've done, this whole film also was in a way from a show called MTV Girls Night Out. But there's a show.
Yeah.
I was there and I've seen that.
Yeah.
And
It was very popular, so.
Yeah, and then we've done work after that. So he's part of 101 India, which is part of the portfolio. He's done some great work there. So his body of work has been very interesting in its own way, and he's a good, smart storyteller. And in the end, I believe in our space, a lot is about gut. A lot is about intuition also. So I think when I heard it, I said, okay, let's do it. And it was a gradual journey. I heard it, he said, okay, we'll do it. we waited on it for some time, and then like I told you, I met Uni, and all of that stuff happened. So I think with the gradual journey, it was bound to happen. But to answer your question sharply about what made me believe in Sajeed for this story, I think it was just a generic connection.
Okay.
And I think he's a very diligent professional. He goes into details. He has a good body of work behind him, and he was looking for a chance to do his debut directorial. And I thought, okay, if we are going to do our first project, let's do with the fresh, fresh mind and fresh story and stuff like that. So I think two parts. One is his past body of work, and then it was just a gut feel. I think he can pull it off, and then things kind of connected and moved on.
Okay. So I've seen directors who are very particular about casting. So when Sajeed decided to cast Shruti Menon and Kishore in lead roles, okay, what did you think? Okay, it was nice, and you had made a research.
I didn't really get too much into that side, to be very frank with.
Okay.
I knew Kishore's work.
Okay.
I think with the work he had done in She, and I'd seen some of his other work, so I knew he's a very, very strong actor. And the other thing which I believed in was that the character we were looking at in the film,
Yeah.
he fitted it very well. And in the whole trilogy, we want to, it's a
Yeah.
3-part trilogy which we are thinking of. I thought his persona and his piece can very well go through probably three,
Yeah.
three storylines. I think his personality can be very
The
acceptable
transition.
globally.
Yeah, okay.
I think he is the character who can be easily accepted. I've traveled a lot across the globe, and I get a sense of how people see characters. I think he has that piece in him. And when you see Shruti also is a very, with her attire and with her look and feel, she's easily acceptable across sectors, and she's also has a good body of work. So I think I did bit of research, but I was like, this is not for me to decide who should be casted. I think you should, as a producer, have to some extent your point of view, but beyond a point, if I had too much of reservation, I would have obviously pointed it out. But I think I was broadly feeling it fine, and I said, okay, this is what he wants to do. Let's, I've backed the project a lot on many fronts, saying, okay, if this is what the director wants to do, let him do it.
Okay.
Let's believe in it. You may have your aspirations and your doubts, which obviously I also had during the whole edit process and all of that, saying, oh, this is working, not working. But, finally you have to leave it to the person whose domain that is.
Yeah.
That if he believes in it, you back it.
Okay.
Then you will see the final product and you will see it correct. So I think I'm glad that, collectively we backed it, and it looks quite in the right place.
Okay. So when Sajeed started working on it, so did you watch or listen to music in Malayalam or Mollywood music style? You understand and you enjoy it, right?
Yeah. So I think now I'm in a place where, I've heard so much of Malayalam talk around, narrations. I've sat for an hour, people talking, bit mixed with, with expressions.
Okay, you comprehend Malayalam with people talking. You
Yeah,
understand?
I think I comprehend a lot with expressions and general piece.
Okay.
I'm able to understand what people are trying to say. A lot of that piece comes in, not entirely, but I do get it. But was I listening a lot of Malayalam music, watching a lot of Malayalam films? Yeah, a bit, not too much.
Yeah.
A bit, I was loving the process, how it was going.
Okay.
I've seen some of it, but not too much of it. And we also have we've got a business which is spread into quite a few things, so you don't get much time. So when you're here, like, okay, now we are here 3 weeks, we are here.
Yeah,
Now we are shooting the film 4 weeks, we are here. And then you move, you go to probably Miami, and you're looking at your cricket season there. So life moves.
Yeah. Okay, so as a producer, on a scale of 10, how excited are you, and how how bewildered are you, because it is a long journey and now it's going to release? Yeah.
There is obviously, as a businessman, there is anxiety at the end, because I think all films.
Okay.
There is in content there is nothing like okay this will be it, this will go where. I think in the end your audiences will decide what works. So there is obviously a little bit of anxiousness. I think we have done what we have to do.
Okay.
I think we have a great product. We are doing all the right kind of marketing we have to do to make sure in this cluttered world, people are able to see what we are kind of putting
Yeah,
out.
okay.
And media houses like you help a lot in putting the right stories out. So I think we've done our journey, we've done our hard work, we've put the product out. There is a bit of anxiety in everybody's heart saying, okay, now 7th it opens up, what happened on the 7th evening, what happened by 8th evening. But we are confident, we are happy. And I believe in, you got to put your hard work, you got to do it, and then you leave it to God's hand and in our business to audiences to see what you produced. And I think knowing the Malayalam audience, I think this is a film made for them. They would love to see the experimentation and top quality content which is produced. I hope they like
The
it.
kind of narration and cinematography and everything.
Everything
So,
is up there. It's like world class.
Okay, so do you feel like people have to watch these kinds of movies because it's a supernatural thriller? So
I think supernatural thriller, horror genre, these are universal genres. There is excitement around it. And I think
because there are only fewer movies coming up now in Malayalam in these genres.
it's difficult to make, whether it's Malayalam, Hindi or English. This genre is a difficult genre to crack.
Okay. So I feel like the production is difficult, the direction is difficult.
Everything is difficult. I think production is difficult, direction is difficult, sound is difficult because it needs a lot of more work. Your light, every department has to, VFX, every department has to come perfectly together to be able to create that experience. Otherwise, it can't. For other genres, I don't kind of say that it's easy, but I think this genre is a very difficult genre to produce. And that's why you don't see too many of them. You see less of them. But what does work, it works.
Yeah. It's entertaining as well as chilling.
And I think we put our heart and soul, and all that I have spoken about has worked well. The testament of it comes because with the kind of wins you got across the sector. From North America to Fright Fest Festival to Salerno in Italy to Cannes and quite a few others, 7-8 of them. So the movies travelled, and that travelled when it was not even final. It was still a little bit of in jigsaw puzzle. But people have loved it across the globe.
And the unprecedented COVID happened. And
And
you halted everything, right?
No, I think I heard it during the COVID, but our production happened after the COVID. So that was. But we took, I think, a little bit more time because we were also trying to fix few things here and there. And they had some time, but I think finally it's looking good.
Okay. So you served in one of the world's most challenging terrains, Siachen, and you have bagged the Gallantine Award as well. So, so how do you feel like, doing all these things in army and then coming to entertainment, laughing a lot?
I think what I believe that, like, the government of India should say, okay, everybody has to go to army. I think what army teaches you is phenomenal. It makes you as a human being, as a professional, you get to believe that you can do anything. So I think that time which I spent there, getting my 6 operational medals, getting a gallantry award, and all of that in 5-6 years. When I was like 20 years, I got commissioned for 20 years. I left when I was like 26, 27. I had done all of that by then, and that prepped me for life ahead. Like when whatever challenges came in producing a movie or whatever else.
Okay, so did you take any cue from those experience?
No,
like learning a lot.
Forges, army is in my blood.
The
cues there are like, whatever pressure you have, whatever challenge you have, take it with a smile and you move on. You cannot be bogged down by pressure. You are not bogged down by saying, okay, now there is a shortage of funds, or people are getting like this, or I want to go into the next stage of producing a next asset. Everything is possible if you have a heart and will to do it. And I think that's what we need as a country. Everybody has to have that. If our collective, youth gets that will,
Okay.
The country can go to places. So I think I feel very very fortunate that I got a chance to serve in the forces, and
Yeah.
what I've learned from there helps me till date, and it's helped me a lot in producing this film as well. In
Okay.
its own way.
So when a new or a debut director is approaching you, what is that one thing you notice in that script, or you know?
I think I have decided that as to a great extent, I still in a field that at Offbeet Studios, we want to
Sure.
give.
You want to produce a lot of movies.
We want to produce a lot of movies, and I want to produce movies with freshers.
Yeah, I'm right.
I am not looking at I don't want to go saying okay, now we produce one, this film becomes a big success, or whatever happens, whatever God wants with it, or however the audiences love it.
Okay.
Whatever next project should be a strong story, should be with fresh people. The big directors and big actors are anyways there. Time by which people are working with them. I think we want to stay with this piece. We want to pick stories which are culturally rooted in India, are strong stories, stories which we can take to the world, which can help take India to the world. So we make it for the audiences of that region, and we make a story which people should see globally,
Yeah.
and we make it with fresh talent,
Yeah.
and that's what we are wanting to stick with.
Okay.
And there are few more which are in lineup, and if we comes in, you'll see one or two
So
more.
are we
stories.
making such army movies? Do you feel like okay, we have done something?
I don't know.
Nationally.
I think there is so much to do, so much of potential to produce great forces content. It's not there. If you look at US,
Because movies do influence people, no?
yeah, I think if you look at US and Europe and UK has changed their perception globally by making films which are backed by the government, and they show their force in a different light, and they are seen as like they are some godly people who are invincible. And if you look at India, the kind of stories we have, they are phenomenal.
Yeah.
But apart from few movies or few shows, very few, I don't see people who are producing forces content are producing it with the zest and with the research and with the force which is required.
Okay.
There is a huge gap there, and it's not just gap of audiences seeing the forces content. I think it's a gap in terms of projecting the country also,
Yeah,
in a
correct.
certain light. So it's a big white space. I think.
And it should be meticulously done because
Yeah, it has to be done meticulously. Everything has to be to the T.
yeah.
But I think it's a very
Yeah,
intensive project, but I think that is something, if I am able to get the resources, I would love to embark on having a specialized division which basically is focusing on creating high quality forces content
Yeah.
to take the India story to the globe.
Yeah. So you are from Kashmir, and what is that one thing you like, mostly about Kerala? The food, the music, or what?
I'm from Jammu and Kashmir, but from Jammu,
Jammu
specifically.
yeah, okay.
From Jammu specifically. And what I love about Kerala is, I love the people. I think people are lovely. You sit with
course.
you sit with them. They are so humble and so.
So like this
polite.
conversation is never ending.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot to
Yeah.
lot to talk about.
I love conversing with everybody here. Our food is great, weather is nice. You land in Kochi and you start feeling okay. Suddenly there is some calmness which comes in. So it's a beautiful state, I think, and it's a beautiful state because of the kind of environment it has, and the kind of people it has,
Okay.
and the food and everything else, obviously.
Super. You know any Malayalam word? Have you learned?
No, really, but I really want to.
Okay. You know any song, Malayalam song? Listen to maybe often.
The last song which I loved was the Hanuman's
Yeah,
track, the
Hanuman
rap
kind.
track. I think
Right.
that's Humankind, right? So that was fantastic, and I think that's also a great testament about strong creative, and the way it is produced is fantastic. So I love the music. I think you look at Kitingo, you look at the tracks we have, and you're going to release few more. And our music we put on our own label, and I've seen, when you are producing something independently, there are a lot of challenges. They're like, oh, we'll think about it. we had conversation with a lot of labels. We think this, that, But then I said, okay, we don't want to just. We produce something which we believe in. So we said, okay, we'll put it on our label. So it's there on Offbeet Music, and it's done really well. And I think this music from all the 4 tracks, the hip hop track, Kitingo, we are today we even dropped the Hindi track. So it's looking nice. And there is another surprise which is kind of tacked in, which we will release after the movie releases. So there's a 4th song also there. So, interesting that.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your invaluable time, and I wish you all the best for Vadakkan. Let it be a great success.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks for making such films in Malayalam.
We will make more.
Yeah,
The idea is to
sure.
make more of them.
Yeah, hope for the best.
Okay,
Thank you.